Welcome back to Da Boys Fantasy Football podcast that only talks about our league. Last episode I got for you guys of the year. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty pumped to be done with these, but I'll be back. Don't worry. Gonna be a quick show, hopefully, unless I get really long talking and get going. But we do have a vibe check segment, gossip, and lastly, feeling myself. So just a quick three. We have playoff championship recap, end of season recap. I'm going to do a couple bit of awards, and then I bring on the champion himself to talk about how that went. So let's go. All right, vibe check. Zach won it all. First championship for him. Congratulations to Zach. He has been in this league since the very start. He's the reason I got involved in fantasy football. Not to say that I wouldn't have found it in another way, but he put me on fantasy, and a lot of us how to play. I made my brother join the league, who's now a staple in our league. I then have brought in a large collection of my friends, and we have turned it into what it is today. So Zach is honestly the start of everything, and I am happy to see him win it all, and that is a very nice thing for me to say. But I am happy. Fellow couch crew member, huge for him. He pretty much dominated the season, highest scoring points, the 1 seed, had top 3 players at all their positions, and won the championship, rightfully so. It's one of these years where you look back and you think, yeah, duh, like that was the right way to. That was exactly what happens when you have the top guy at each position. You are the highest scoring team. No bullshit. No fluky things happened. This is the true winner, and congrats to him. So. One thing I do want to say before I move on to the payouts is if you go on the website, on the NFL website, I've been hard on it in the past. I think it's a little outdated as far as like the user friendliness of it, the way things look, but it does have some cool things on there, like the history tab. The history tab, you can go through all of the old years, see the highest scoring team in each season. You can see obviously who won, the position that every did. You can even see individual weekly matchups. It's all on there. It's all public record. I like to go in there when I'm really missing fantasy football and just kind of look through and see like different guys that I've had and like, damn, that year was special and stuff like that. Like if you won a league that won a season, you can look back at it and kind of reminisce. You guys probably all know about that already, but if you haven't, check it out. It's fun if you're a nerd. The payouts, I have paid everybody already. Everybody's been paid. Zach is the championship winner. He gets a grand total of... Well, I don't have everybody's total winnings added up. I actually just noticed I didn't have that added, but Zach made a lot of money. Championship winner, he won $1,060 for that. He won $200 for the regular season championship, and then he had 4 top scoring weeks at $50 each. So quick math tells you that's $1,460. Runner-up was Austin. He got $200 for that. The regular season champ was Zach. Top scoring weeks were $50 each. Zach led the way at 4. Jared, Donald, and myself had 2. And Dakota and Mr. had 1. If your name hasn't been called, that means you didn't have a single week where you scored the highest points. Jared has the title of the highest score of the year at 188.28 points. Still only pays $50 though. But hey, it's cool. Your name's in the record books. And yeah, that's it. Everybody's been paid. If If anybody has any questions about money and payouts, obviously I would have probably heard by now, but I think we're all good there. And then I won with Zach winning. I won $300, which essentially was just like $150 because I don't know, the way it worked out was when I was doing the math and shit. But yeah, it's nice to win that. I was happy that I was able to. I hope I'm being heard. That's going to be gay if I am not. And so I'm happy that I got to pick Zach. I knew Zach was going to win it. The second playoffs happened, and as long as no bullshit happened. But I am glad to have done that and be a part of a championship team like Zach. So moving on. I have something that. I don't know if it's going to be funny or not, but a couple awards that this podcast is going to be giving out. So officially sponsored by this podcast to fund these rewards. First off, I have the Not Your Fault Award. Okay, so not your fault meaning you did okay, you made all the right decisions, but injuries, for whatever reason, season things that have happened that has forced your team to be bad this year. This award is going to go to none other than Mr. Griggs. 4 of his stars were on IR throughout the year. Kyron Williams, who if he wasn't on that IR those 3 weeks would have been great. Devon A-Chain, who you found in the draft. Justin Jefferson, and then Joe Burrow after trading him. You know, I think ultimately the big one was Justin Jefferson, and you know, there's just when you have that many injuries, one you can say everyone's got to overcome that, but 4, I don't think this season was your fault. I thought you did a pretty good job managing your team and doing with what you could, but that award will be going to you. Most boring team. Okay, so this one is a guy that I would say the most boring doesn't necessarily mean you had a bad team. You had boring players, even though yours did. But I just mean as a fantasy manager, the engagement, all-time low. You had very little to say as far as shit talk throughout the week. After the matchups, you're a complete no-show. This award for most boring team who didn't do anything all year long, not a single person said your team was great. I tried to talk about it on the podcast, and it bored the fuck out of me. This award goes to Adam Thompson. Terrible performance as a league manager from you this year. You wouldn't trade with nobody until it was way too fucking late. I just thought most irrelevant, boring team. It could have gone to Braden, but the most boring, irrelevant team was Adam Thompson. Sorry, that's just how I seen it. That's how this podcast, I got with my people. That's how we went about this and graded this. We all agreed, without a doubt, the most boring team of the year was you, Adam. Most improved. This one was kind of tough. I wanted to go off of a guy that kind of reinvented himself in a way, and I will say Braden deserves this award. Braden, you are the winner of the most improved award from being pretty non-irrelevant. You were a complete league loser, so much so that we kicked you out. Now you're back. Last year you were definitely the most boring team. And this year, with a couple appearances on this very podcast where you were funny, you proved that you were really caring about this league and really making moves. You were engaged in several side texts to try to pull off trades. Your team made it just short of the playoffs. It could have made a run had a couple things went your way. I think most improved. It could have went to a lot of people. I could have went to this award and say, this is going to go off of gameplay, which probably makes sense now that I'm thinking about it. Should have been like a guy that was terrible last year and went deep in the playoffs this year. Maybe that's how that award should have went. But I thought overall, I'm grading the fantasy managers on these things. I'm not necessarily grading their teams. I'm grading the fantasy manager's performance, and I thought Braden had a good showing this year, and I'm glad to have you in this league, sir. And then the next award we have is called Change Your Narrative. Change your narrative. I will build narratives as this league goes on. We all do. When we talk shit to each other, we say the same things. Well, for an example, Mister, you spend all your money on 3 guys, and you changed your narrative this year by not drafting only 3 guys, because he did that again. This award will go to Austin Christiansen. Your narrative for the last 10 years have been a great season guy all year long. Highest ranked team, long-time regular season winner. But as soon as you get in the playoffs, you choke it right away. This year, you gave it your all in the playoffs. And the fact that you even made it to the championships, I have friends that literally hang banners, even though the team hangs banners for winning the AFC or whatever like that. But I have teams that will put you in the Hall. I have guys that will put you in the Hall of Fame if you just make it to a Super Bowl. So for that fact alone, you deserve this award. You changed your narrative. You're no longer the guy that just blows it in the playoffs. We'll see how years go on and pass, but this year you changed that narrative. It was almost without certain that you were going to lose week 1 of the playoffs. Week 2 of the playoffs definitely didn't give you a shot. Week 3, you ran out of juice. You still only lost by 20 points. You gave it your all with a very, very bad roster. I think you changed your narrative this year, so congratulations to Austin Christiansen for winning the Changed Your Narrative award. And this one is the big award that I'm excited to talk about. We have the Fraud of the Year. Now, I know what you're thinking. Automatically, everyone's brain goes right to Donald. I get it. That's low-hanging fruit for me, honestly. For me to say Donald was a fraud, low-hanging fruit. I'm not going to do that. I'm actually going to take it a step further. I'm going to say that the entire fucking table crew is a fraud, okay? 5 of our 12 seasons, 5 of them, the league loser has came from table crew. From Austin, from Donald, from Tyler, and from Kyle Peeler. Austin actually never did it. So Peeler has 1, Tyler has 2, and Donald has 2. So for them to sit there and say, table crew, pump your chest, they won 1 championship in 12 years. You can say Tyler's counted, fine. That was the first year of its birth. We did a snake league. We removed the asterisk. There is no asterisk, but it can still be talked about as such. The same way they have Brady's asterisk. It's not there, but people say asterisk. I'm saying the same thing. Frauds of the year, 100% goes to table crew. It's as easy as that. Congratulations. You guys can all have that trophy at your stupid-ass table next year at the draft. And, eat shit. Couch crew got one. So, fuck off. Loser of the Year award. I promised. I said I was going to try to make some positive things. Positive year. But this is the last one. Loser of the Year. We talked about it a little bit last week. Kyle, you are the loser of the year. It's your first time. Lowest score total overall by 80 points. You got a 2-12 record. You kind of ran the same situation last year where you had a bunch of moves and a bunch of trades. You had the most trades at 9. You had the second most moves at 55, and nothing worked. Everything you did from start to finish was completely terrible, awful. Started with Garrett. The second Garrett Wilson went down, Garrett Wilson didn't go down. The second Aaron Rodgers went down, your season was done. And you silver lining, you were only low scorer twice, but both times you fucked it up. The first time you pissed everybody off, and then the second time, fucking, you pissed your wife off and almost got this entire fucking podcast taken down. Fucking everything went completely sideways. So, congratulations to Kyle Peeler. You are the loser of the year. Can't wait till next year and see what you do. Speaking of next year, talk a little bit about next year plans. You know, I'd thrown it out last week, location and stuff like that for the draft next year. Really, I'm just going to table everything for now. I'll if anybody has any ideas that they want to bring forward, please do. I'm open to really anything. This isn't a ploy to try to get all you guys to Arizona. It was just an idea. I'm open for anything as long as it is up to my standard. We all know what we expect. We can run it at Justin's house as long as he's cool with it. We can run it at Mister's house. We can do anything you guys want. I'm just looking for fun, and I'm always looking to improve this league. And if you guys think I'm going to stop doing that, try it fucking again. Find a new league, right? So, same thing with the punishment. I've also thrown out different ideas for the punishment moving forward. Talked about a relegation league after long talks, and I've just thought about it. There's just no way it would work, and I think it's a terrible idea. We can try to do some of the more typical punishments out there. I think what we currently have is kind of ran itself dry as far as the outfits, as far as paying for the league's winners buy-in. If we ever do increase our amount, that's going out the window anyways. So I'm open for any ideas as well as the punishment and just what you guys think. And last thing I will say as a part of this segment is I need to hire a new banker, okay? I paid everybody. Everyone's paid up. And I know there were jokes, so there's a lot of people at this point that are going to be saying, I fucking told you so. I have been keeping the money and being the banker since the year this started. And without fail, every single time the payouts, it's time to pay up at the end of the year, I've always got to dip into my own fucking money. And it's like a payment that I've got to make from $50 to $1,000. There was one year I spent it all, and I had to pay everything out of my own money. Whose fault is that? 100% mine. There is no one else to blame. Everyone brings their money as they should. This year what got me is that I asked everybody to bring cash, so I didn't have a problem. And what the fuck does Jared do? Completely ignore that and send me a Zelle for $400. So it goes into my fucking checking account. 2023 is a terrible financial year for me. So the money's gone. So now I just got to fucking find it at the end of the year, which I knew about the entire year, but I'm terrible with money. So I am looking for somebody else to step up and tell me, or at least help me figure this out to where I don't have to completely almost divorce my wife when I got to tell her I got to pay out money at the end of the year, every single year. So yeah, if anybody's down to hold the money, or we can possibly forego all the payments until the end of the year, we can do that too. But I'm not doing something right. So that's it. All right, gossip. We have the breakdown of the fantasy Super Bowl. We had Zach versus Austin. As we all know, we were all paying very close attention to it. And one thing I think we can all agree on, Zach pretty much always had this game in the bag. Especially once Gibbs played on Saturday night, only gave 5 points. It was pretty easy to give him that dub afterwards. There were a lot of things where Zach didn't have massive performance from everybody. He got consistent scores. He scored 120 points, 124. But he was able to match everything Austin did from that point on and keep that lead that David Njoku gave him on Thursday night. Like, every single thing that happened, that 20 gap was there. And Austin never at one point was leading at any point in this matchup. And it came down to needing 30 points from Addison on Sunday night. It just felt like no shot, and it wasn't. Zach played, again, another beatable game, but it wasn't beatable because he was playing Austin, and Austin couldn't do it. And Austin went fucking lights out. All the magic burned out by the time it got to this point. And Zach truly always had this game in the wraps. And now we're looking at a first-time league winner. And that is all. There were zero Zach starts of the week. Everybody did their best when it came to making their start sits. Lamar had a great game. It just wasn't enough. And by the time it got to that Seahawks game, Kenny Walker and DK sealed up the game easy. Like, when they were able to match and do what James matched George Pickens, and Austin had another guy, it didn't matter, and Zach was able to win it. So congratulations to Zach. I'm going to welcome him on for the Feeling Myself segment. And that is it. We're going to get you guys out of here. And that is it for me this year. It's been fun. It was exhausting to do it, honestly. But it was fun to do it. And I will be back next year. And love all you. All right. Welcome on to the Fantasy Champion winner. We have Zach on for a revival of the episode, or of the segment, Feeling Myself. Zach, congratulations. How the fuck you doing?
Great. I've been trying to win this fucking thing for however many years we've been doing it, 13 years.
Yep. So we're gonna get into that a little bit. I am very happy to finally get, hopefully, a not so humble, not wanting to jinx everything, Zach. First off, we're gonna really start a little off the wall here. We'll talk about the matchup with Austin if you want, but it's been, like you said, 13 years. You have been in this since the very birth. You've known more of the fantasy rules. You've been around fantasy football. You introduced it to me. You were no novice to the game of fantasy football, but you never had a championship in the most league that matters.
I was fucking terrible. I knew the most about it, but I was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, you're always kind of middle of the pack, or sometimes you had a good team every now and then, but for the most part, yeah, you did have some shitty put together as a team.
Big time.
So it's finally good to see you, a guy like you. We could pause if you need to.
No, go ahead. You're good.
Okay. It's good to see you at the top. These are the kind of guys that you want winning, not the Jareds and shit like that. But talk about that and just like how good it finally feels to be on top of the mountain.
It was pretty cool. There's no secret that I'm one of the, pretty much, you think of me, you probably think of football nerd or something like that. And when you keep losing and losing and losing, it's like, is this guy even pay attention to the thing that he cares about that much? But so 2023 was a good year. What's funny is I've tried every different draft strategy in the book. And then finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to try and pick the best players. What do you know?
Yeah, dude. Okay, so I was thinking about that. I was like, oh, Zach, obviously, he won it in the draft. Okay.
Right.
And this, a lot of guys have gotten to the top of the mountain by just trading their way into a good team, or waiver wire, huge guys. So I was thinking that all year long, like you drafted this team. But only 3 guys that you drafted from your original team are on your roster, and they are the big 3: Josh Allen, Tyreek Hill, and Christian McCaffrey. Number 1 at all their positions except for this last week. I think Lamar took over number 1.
Oh, did he get it? Wow.
I'm not 100% sure.
Josh
I
still
could
put
check
up
that.
20. Yeah, he probably did. Lamar went fucking crazy. But
Yeah.
basically, I went into the season knowing I was going to take a swing, 3 guys. And honestly, I was going to try and get Mark Andrews instead of Josh Allen. Then Josh Allen just fell in my lap, thank God. And I was just going to say, all right, I like to trade, so I'll trade everybody else except for them. And I had a lot of offers for those guys, especially when shit wasn't going right. But I stuck to it. But what I will say is I made a huge swing early for Puka.
Yes.
And he was awesome all year. I picked up David Njoku, who was number 1 fantasy tight end like the last 5 weeks. I did make the trade for Kenny Walker and DK and Sam Howell. And although that maybe Puka and JT probably were better in the playoffs, to get me the 1 seed, those guys were definitely better than JT because he was hurt and Puka had like a bad game in there or something. So the timing helped out. Going for the 1 seed, which I didn't know was possible at the time, was what won me the championship in the end.
Yeah, no, it definitely helped you because I think you had a dud week on your bye, no? Or you balled? You had a good week.
I think even on my bye, I scored like 120. I scored like 125 all 3 weeks.
All 3 weeks.
Which was kind of what had been low for what I'd been scoring.
Yeah.
But then I kind of was scrolling through the scores and I was like, oh, everybody was kind of low. But then again, people weren't setting lineups at the same time anyway. So.
Yeah, no, towards the end there.
Yeah.
No, that strategy though is what we all try to do, right? Like we all have $360 for the most part.
Right.
And we all say, all right, we can spend on 3 guys, unless you're some other guys where they're like, okay, let's just be frugal across the board and build a deep team. But the 3 spend a fuck ton of money on strategy has been used a million times. But you were able to do it and find the right guys and
I think
find the number ones.
I think what I committed to was 1 at each position.
And
I'm going to try.
Normally, you'll see it like just at one position. This was
some
cool.
People go double running backs. Some people go double. Mr. will go fucking 3 wide receivers. And he's won that way before. I went 1 at each. It was going to be tight end instead of quarterback. I was kind of iffy. I landed on Josh Allen, which was probably the best pick in the draft, in my opinion, for the value that I got him. I got him for like $40, and he scored a shitload. So
yeah, he was the second most expensive quarterback, I believe.
Probably behind Patty, I would imagine.
Yeah, so I was looking at it because I'm like, okay, I drafted a top guy at each position too. My guys were Patrick Mahomes, Saquon Barkley, and Cooper Kupp. We spent within $20 of each other and went drastically different ways in our season. So
I don't think you had a single game where all 3 of those were in your lineup.
No, not because Cooper Kupp didn't play till week 4. So yeah, it goes to show that like you can have that strategy. Everyone does, but you actually found them. And you're typically not a CMC guy. Like, he's good, but you're always like, his injury. I think you were even saying it all before the draft. So you drafted him. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I was big when he came out that Dalvin Cook was better. I was wrong. I was big that the only reason he was good the 1 year with the Panthers was because he touched the ball every play. That proved to be wrong. And then I was like, well, he's still a white guy at the end of the day. There's no way he's that and he's just the best player in football, in my opinion. So I finally got over that hurdle and got him. I wasn't planning on going in. I think it was either him or somebody else. And then people stopped bidding and Dom said it was mine. So he was mine.
Okay. So you went into the draft knowing, because I thought he was like the 3rd running back off. I think it was Eckler, Saquon, and then at that point, fucking CMC was kind of cheap. Like you kind of looked at it like, oh, I'm definitely going to get him for cheaper than if like you were staying in the draft as long as he wasn't like 120s and one something crazy. I think you got him for
I think I got him for 110 or 111.
110. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I mean I got Saquon for 117 and he was the most.
Yeah, I think
So
when
you're
we
like,
go
as long as he's cheaper than 117, he's mine.
pretty
And
much.
it
I
worked
think
out, man. Good for you.
I think
So you got the champion now.
or somebody else.
You got the
Sorry.
championship. You beat Austin, who to me, I mean, I still got to record right now, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that matchup, but it never felt close. You were texting me on the side a bunch saying, you know, we might be fucked, we might be this. And there were moments where it felt like that. But from the very jump, it never got close. You were never losing the entire matchup. He even had Lamar go off. I think after that Gibbs touchdown or the Gibbs 5-point game, it felt very over at that point.
It did. And then after the morning games is probably the only time where I was like, oh, fuck. I just watched George Pickens go for 35 last week. And if I get a dud from either Kenny Walker or DK, like, yeah, ball.
Yeah, those guys came through for you.
They stepped up. They really did. I want everybody to hear this. Everybody watching, all 7 of you. Fuck you, Table Crew.
Fuck Table Crew. Fuck Table Crew. I got a very special award for their dumbass. They fucking suck.
Yeah.
Hey, let's go. One for the Couch Crew. We got one.
We needed one.
We needed one. We just matched their one that they've been in this league is just as long. So, hell yeah, right on. Good job, man. Anything else you want to say? Just enjoy it because fantasy is so fucking gay that you could be bad, next year. But look what happened to Peeler. So just enjoy it. There's really no strategy. There's no off season to really put in the work. It's just
but until we draft again, just know that I'm better than every single one of you in fantasy football this year.
Let's go, Zach. Thank you for doing that.
We'll see. I don't know, dude. I might get fucking cancer in 2024 with how good my 2023 was. So,
what a year! And that's what we were saying leading into it. Just a fucking all-time run by the kid.
Yeah, it was a good fall.
And you had the audacity to start complaining about the Vikings. No one gives a fuck.
Have you watched them?
Yeah.
They're fucking terrible.
They haven't had a real quarterback all year long, and you were still like thinking you guys had a shot. Like, what are you guys even playing for? What are you guys doing? You guys have started 5 different quarterbacks.
And we're still going to have the same record as that fucking moron that we're going to pay another $400 million against every year. So
if Kirk was there, you guys would be different. I promise.
You're right. We would be 9-8 instead of fucking 8-9.
And in the playoffs with a chance to play the Eagles or something like that, who stink.
And then we get embarrassed on NBC in Philadelphia and get beer bottles thrown at us.
All right, man. Well, have a good practice.
Appreciate it.
I'll talk to you later. Congratulations again.
Thanks, man. Thanks for doing this podcast. It's been
great.
I hope you keep doing it. And love you all.
All right. Later.
See you.